Hey guys, today was my chest and shoulder day. So with today's workout, I started off with the main thing, which is gonna be a seated barbell shoulder press. As you can see here, I'm going heavy for a set of 5 to 9 reps. So that's gonna be my first main movement. I really like these. I really feel heart contraction. I feel like this really helps build the shoulders. Now, next up, I move on to the back off set. Same exercise, really focused on feeling that negative and initiating the movement with the delts. I like a slight incline. I don't like completely upright. And I am thinking the entire time of bringing my stomach right into that bench, staying upright, and also just really bringing the elbows through and bring the shoulders almost up to the ears to fully contract the delts and really stimulate them to grow. Now, I'm showing you guys my main presses here. So as we move on to the next exercise I videotaped is gonna be a behind the neck Smith machine press. You gotta be careful with this one. I like doing slight dead stops and coming up all the way. If you notice, the first one I cut a little bit short, but I am working really hard. I'm locking things out and fully extending the elbows in order to fully maximally contract the muscle. This is a really good movement, but again, it could be a little bit dangerous if you don't have the mobility for it, or if you just jerk weight around. If you notice, I like stopping on the dead stop on the last rep, and I do like to try to aim for 1 or 2 more. Always, I get 1 more, I try to go for another one, and that's a complete failure for me. Now, after this, I only do 1 set of that. I like to go for a slight incline barbell press or Smith machine press. This is gonna be more for pec stimulation. This is not my main pec day. I just like to add 3 sets of pecs onto this day in order to just, maximally stimulate the chest with a little bit more volume. If you notice, again, same thing I've been working on here. The theme is completely lock out the elbows and think about bringing the elbows into the midline of my body to fully shorten them and fully stimulate them to grow. I've also been working on not going all the way down, but only until I feel the pec really stretch. And as you can see here, that was failure for me. Now, up next, what I want to show you guys is going to be my lateral raises. I even dropped the weight here slightly to really start the movement with the side delt, working on keeping my arms as straight as possible and not cheat the movement. The main thing is going to be come up, hold for a sec, and really feel the negative on the way down. Don't allow momentum to take over. Also, I'm trying really hard not to swing the weight up, but instead utilize my delts to bring the weight up. And that's one of the biggest mistakes. Guys will just swing the weight up. I also don't rest at the bottom. When you start resting at the bottom, that's just taking time under tension away from the delts. So the goal is to keep that constant fluid motion with those slow negatives and keep just constant tension until you can't go anymore. Now, up next, what I want to show you guys is a movement that I think is really amazing for rear delts. It's going to be a wide grip, mag grip, rear delt pull down. It looks like a back pull down, but this movement, you got to lean back a little bit, keep the elbows slightly forward, and think about pulling down and initiating the movement with the rear delts. It can be a little bit tricky to explain online, but if you're in person, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to initiate the movement again with my rear delts. And as I come down, I think I'm ripping the handles apart to the side walls. And even as I'm going up, I'm thinking about ripping those handles apart. And I feel my rear delts the entire time. I try not to bring the scapula back or pop my chest out too much. It's like a slightly hunched forward motion where I focus on really contracting those rear delts. And I literally just go to failure. So trying to minimize the movement from the bicep and the back and traps. Now, lastly, the last movement I did was going to be a Pec Flye. If you notice here, same principles I've been working on with chest. Trying to lighten the weight a little bit. Trying to keep the arms as straight as possible and bring the elbows into the midline of my body. That's going to be key in order for me to maximally contract the pec. Now, if you notice here, I put a lot of the load. I can load this movement in different ways. So I try to load it mainly at the top, at the shortened position, and I add a little bit of load on the stretch position. You notice those 10s I have on there. But for the second set, what I do is I remove those 10s and I lighten the weight even further, and then I focus on mainly keeping the tension on the shortened position. That way, as pecs fatigue, I can just really focus on that shortened position. I find that if you overstimulate that lengthened position too many times a week, it really will affect recovery and I notice it in my logbook. So I keep my arms as straight as possible, initiate with the pecs, come up and straighten the arms and squeeze, sucking my abs into that bench and allowing my elbows to come towards each other and squeezing that midline as hard as possible. So these are going to be my main movements for today, guys. As you notice, I'm going to put here my entire workout, but I don't film my entire workout. I just want to show you guys the intensity that I'm bringing for this show. I am right now at 9 weeks out from my regional show and then 10 weeks out from the pro qualifier. Remember, training is not just about moving weights, it's about contracting muscles, and I've been working really hard at maximally stimulating that muscle growth.